Yeah, the last time I ever saw her actually was we got into an argument, and she said something about my son, and I spit in her face. You are trash, and she spit back at me, and then I put my hand over her mouth so she wouldn't spit on me again, and I left, and I was going down the elevator, and I didn't see a text message that she texted me. She said, "Hey, if you come back up here, I'm going to call the cops."
And we are about to watch the parole hearing of a man who can't keep his hands to himself. I mean, you know, when you get prison, a 30-month sentence for violation of a protection order, you know that it must have been pretty bad because we've seen in Connecticut where judges, they don't just like to hand out sentences for, violate. And he's making the story out already. Well, she insulted me and then she did that and she did me. And then I went downstairs and I just came back and little did I know she had called the police and oh no, poor me. And that is such, we know how much, what do they call it, BS that is, but we'll see if the parole board has similar spidey senses to me. Maybe they don't, who knows, maybe you don't, maybe you'll think he's a nice guy, but you'll let me know what you think in the comment section, can you, will you, I don't know. Anyways, with that, let's jump in.
Hi, my name is Jason Evans, 367-370.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of a parole application for Jason Evans, inmate number 367-370. He's serving a sentence of 30 months jail, flat sentence for possession with intent to sell narcotics, violation of protective order, 2 counts of assault third, possession of controlled substance, failure to appear second, and violation of probation with underlying offense of violation of protective order. As of today, records reflect the parole eligibility date of April 7th, 2025. There is no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan for the offender. It has been reviewed and shows the offender has completed the domestic violence program and is participating in the Tier 4 program. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score on the SRT falls within the high range of risk for recidivism. Your opportunity to express the board why you believe you should be controlled.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
You can read your statement.
Oh, okay. I want to thank the board first for seeing me, and I just like to say that I believe everyone deserves a chance, and that actions speak louder than words. And since I've been here, I not only take responsibility for what I did, I also feel terrible for what I did. I volunteered for the Tier 4 program because I just wanted to be around people just like I would be at home, that aren't using and aren't doing the wrong thing. And it wasn't originally on my OAP, but I wrote until Counselor Ragazzino put me in, and I spent the better part of the last 10 years helping people. I became a personal trainer. I was on 10-year special parole. I actually did the best and most successful I ever did being on parole. And I think it's a good hindrance from doing the wrong thing, and it keeps you in line. And if I'm granted parole, I know I won't be back. And I'll use that year that I'll be on parole to, I have a place to stay. I have a job waiting for me, and I want to build back my business. I have a really good plan for when I get home. I have a sponsor already. I talked to my therapist, Betsy Thirachi, so I'm going to go back to therapy as soon as I get my state insurance, of course, and NA and AA. So thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Evans. So we've read about your background. You just said you've been on special parole before, so you've been through this process in the past. And so we've read about your background, what's got you to this incarceration. And, based upon that, we have some questions. So we're going to talk about your case and give you a decision. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, you're back. Why?
Okay. So look, when I was doing good and everything, once COVID hit, my ex at East Gals, and she was drinking like the whole time we were together. I actually fell off the wagon during the lockdown, and we were just terrible together. We started like arguing about every little thing. You know, she would get in my face, and I would yell back, and then the neighbors would call the cops. The last thing that happened there became physical, and that the last time I ever saw her actually was we got into an argument, and she said something about my son, and I spit in her face. "You are trash," and she spit back at me, and then I put my hand over her mouth so she wouldn't spit on me again, and I left, and I was going down the elevator, and I didn't see a text message that she texted me. She said, "Hey, if you come back up here, I'm going to call the cops." Well, I forgot something. I didn't see the text message. I came back in, and then she called the cops. But that was the last time I ever saw her. After that, I was evicted from the place for the cops being called. Like, they didn't want any of that. So then I had to stay at hotels, and I ran through a lot of my money, and then with the case and everything, and I ended up living in my car. I was homeless for the first time in my life. And I sold drugs, and there's no excuse for it. Doing the wrong thing for the right reason in your own mind is still the wrong thing. So, I take responsibility for that. It's, what people do to go buy drugs from you, it's you're responsible for that too if you're selling. So, but that's what led me back here. But I did really, really well for a long time, and I gave back. I trained special needs clients. I was really happy at one point, and honestly, our relationship was really, really good until the alcohol. And I wish her the best. I feel terrible. I lost a good woman on that one. I really did.
Okay. So seems like using starts the whole cycle again, right?
Correct. Yes.
So how far into tier 4 are you?
I have about a month and 2 weeks left.
Okay.
So I'm pretty good. I'm almost through phase 3. If you guys know, there's 4 phases of it. So, and the last phase is the shortest one. But I'm in like the 12th class out of 18 in the 3rd, and then there's only the last phase is only a month. So I've about a month and a half left. Yes.
So you're like 4.5 months into tier 4.
Correct. Yes.
So let's continue on with that a little bit. So when you release, what is your recovery plan?
Okay. It's okay if I wrote it down just so.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read it to you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So my recovery plan is well, I have a place to live and a job waiting for me. I have a really good support system, sober friends that are all doing very well. It's like they say, if you lie with dogs, you get fleas. Well,
Where did those sober friends come from?
I've actually had them my whole life since my teens, and
Okay, so they're people who don't use, not necessarily people who are in recovery.
no, but actually they're all in recovery. Well, the 3 that I'm talking about, my 3 best friends, they've been clean for 15 years and 20 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
One of them I'm actually going to ask to be my sponsor. So
right.
that's
Keep going.
Okay. I'm going back to therapy, which always helped me. I believe talking about things is good because when you're talking about them, you're not hiding. You're not bottling up and using or drinking. My passions for helping clients, lose weight. I've actually even done that in here. So that keeps me on eating healthy and being in shape myself. So that's gonna help me, going to NA and AA.
So do you go in the Waterbury area?
I'm sorry, what did you say, Mr. Whitman?
Yeah, I mean, you want to come out to Naugatuck, where do you go, in the Waterbury area?
I will have to, I'm not from that area, I'm from like the New Haven, West Haven area. But yes, my cousin lives in Naugatuck, so I'm gonna have to find, somewhere in that area, yeah.
Have you run across C-Car, while you've been inside?
Yeah, I've actually inquired about it. It's about becoming what is it, a peer mentor, a group, or counselor?
So actually, there's two reasons why you do it. And so many guys inside say, oh yeah, I want to be a recovery coach. It's like, yeah, no, let's get one. And then, right.
Yeah.
So what it's about is getting somebody in the community, as you understand personal training. It's getting a coach in the community that's connected to the recovery resources. So when you come out in a new area, and there's a C-Car office right here in Waterbury, Recovery Community Center. And so they have access to resources. They know where meetings are. They know where everything related to recovery is. And they're there to support.
That sounds good. And that's something I didn't mean to cut you off, I'm sorry. But is that something I can inquire about here for that area?
If you go back and you take a look at your tablet and look for the C-Car button, you can actually request the coach.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
And I'm not a career counselor, but with a personal training background, as you get out and start to reestablish yourself,
Yes.
maybe that's a piece that you want to look at for, it may put some more people that are trying to get at recovery.
True. Yeah. Broader range of people. Yes.
Right.
Yes, absolutely. It's funny because a lot of people that's what they do too. Like a lot of recovery and yoga, working out, it really does go. So a lot of my clients were ex-alcoholics.
If you are an alcoholic or were an alcoholic, you are an alcoholic today.
Or ex-addicts, like you just said.
Right. So you didn't get the opportunity to take voices.
I'm on a waiting list. I've written so many times on that one.
That's fine.
Okay.
So based upon that, though, what I want to know is, can you reflect on the impact that you've had on victims? There's a violation of protective order here.
Yes.
There is 2 counts of assault third here. That's really all from your past. The rest of it's, it appears, in drug dealing and drug possession and stuff like that. So can you reflect on the victims and what your thoughts have been about that when it comes to the violation of protective order and the assault thirds?
Yes. So I'll start with that. As far as Agnieszka, like I said, I lost a really good woman. I feel terrible. Like, first of all, my father would roll over his grave, at what I did. Like, spitting on somebody is like, I've never done that before. I've never had anything like that in my past. I've had girlfriends my whole life. I've never nothing's ever gotten physical. And I feel terrible because she left her husband for me. And like, she expected more from me. And we were really happy for a long time. Like, I'm not going to say it was all bad, because it really wasn't. It was really bad at the end. And I broke her heart. Like, that bothers me, like, to this day, like, because I've had my heart broken, and this whole thing broke my heart too. But I did that to her. Like, I cheated and I got caught, and I didn't want to take responsibility for that. And the result of it was everything getting physical and terrible. And I really do. I feel terrible. I hope she's doing well. I really wish her well, you know, and in some cosmic way, I hope she knows I'm sorry, you know. As far as like victims from selling drugs, like I said before, like I feel terrible about that because I promised myself I would never do that again. And I never thought I was ever going to be in that position of being homeless, and I'm not making excuses for it at all. I just, you know, when people are stealing from their parents or whatever they're doing for that money, when they come to see you, you're just as guilty as them stealing because you're providing what they're stealing for. And, you know, you always hear that if they didn't get it from me, they get it from somebody else. Well, get it from somebody else because honestly, like, I hate myself for it. I'm trying to forgive myself. I'm trying to I know the only way for me to heal and move on is to accept responsibility and to try forgiving myself. Like it's the only way it's going to work, you know?
But, you know, it's really reflecting on the damage we cause, which that's some deep reflection as to, you know, who's boosting what to get money to bring to you and who's causing havoc to bring money to you to, you know, to get what you need. Yeah. Right.
I know. Yeah.
So you do have extensive experience with personal training. You have a job lined up with the auction.
Yes. So I
Is that
just have to
correct?
I just have to get my license back, which I have the money set aside for already. I know there's a $175 restoration fee and then whatever the court, the fine from the court would be. But I have $500 set aside for that. So that, because my cousin told me, she's like, obviously you can't drive from, first of all, you're on parole. You're not going to be driving without a license.
Yep.
B, I have a business. I'm not risking, you know, I was like, obviously I definitely will get my license back, you know.
Yep. So gonna live with your cousin in Naugatuck. You talked to the parole officer about connecting with an AANA sponsor. We talked about a recovery coach. You eventually want to end up in Florida with your son? Is that what?
That's been our plan for last year and a half or so. Yeah. My best friend, one of the ones that I told you, Colin Smith, he lives in Florida and he owns a couple companies there. He's doing very well for himself. He invited us to, you know, he said, save up money while you're on parole, you know, and if you guys want, my son was like, Dad, I always wanted to me and you to just live together like that. That'd be great. So that's the plan, you know. Either way, I want to move in with him, whether it's in Connecticut or Florida, but I'm hoping we go to Florida. That'd be nice, you know.
All right. I don't have any further. I'm going to check with other board members to see if they have anything.
Okay.
Board member Sapo Sasu.
Just one quick question, Mr. Evans.
Yes.
Regardless of whether you stay in Connecticut or go to Florida, you know, the issues remain the same. So
Absolutely.
the impulsivity, the opportunity for relapse, I would just hope that you're cognizant of that. And to that end, have you had a opportunity to identify your triggers? I mean, you've talked about toxic relationships and that type of thing, but what else have you identified that are potential triggers for you?
Okay, so my triggers mostly are I have an abandonment issue, which is why I originally started going to therapy. I've had a lot of people die, my parents, my best friend. Matter of fact, December 3rd of 2020. So yeah, 2023. That was actually, I got clean because I overdosed. I was in the hospital and one of my best friends, he had texted me. I didn't have my phone because I was in I had to stay for a week or two. When I got my phone back, I looked at the phone and he had texted me 2 nights before and I didn't realize that he texted me. He killed himself that night. And I told myself, like, I'm not saying I could have stopped it, but that changed everything for me because I would have at least liked to try, you know, like when I heard that, I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. And I did. I got clean before I got to jail. I did. For about almost 2 months. I stopped drinking 9 months before I went to jail. That went first. I decided to stop drinking. But yeah, that day that I saw my phone and then I saw a bunch of messages saying, I'm sorry about John. I'm sorry about John. And I texted his phone. I said, tell me you're okay. And his girlfriend texted me back and she said, you better call, you know. And then she told me that he had killed himself. So I know my triggers is loss, abandonment. One thing I learned in domestic violence is taking a time out. I know it sounds childish, but it really does work. Even my son and I were on the phone, and I'm starting to get a little, you know, he's 22 years old. So, you know, we all knew everything at 22, right? If I'm starting to get upset or whatever, I'm like, I'm going to call you back in 20 minutes. And it really works. Like I collect my thoughts. I call him back. I don't get angry. I don't, you know, I just speak. I speak from the heart. And I speak the way I'm speaking to you, not getting upset or, you know, like angry or whatever. So I have identified quite a few triggers. People, places, things are always, I think that's everybody's trigger. That's in recovery. But when you're doing good, you don't, it's so easy to stay away from bad people. It really is. Like all the people I was around when I was doing good, it was like success breeds success, you know? And it's like, it's so mirrors the opposite of that. When you're around bad people, you're going to do bad. It's just, it's not simple, but it sounds so simple, you know, it really does. But that's the reality of it in my mind.
Oh, I agree, and I'm sorry for the loss of your friend. I do think that even though, you know, we've spoken a lot about your substance abuse and your score coming into today's conversation is high. It's a 4. Likewise, your mental health score was low. It's a 1. But I do think that these two issues for you are intertwined. And
Yeah.
I think, you know, if you spend as much time taking care of your physical health and your mental health, and we know you know how to take care of your physical health, the mental health will follow. So thank you for speaking with me.
You're welcome. And just on that, my son always says to me, since I've been in here, if I start complaining, you know, he's like, strong body, strong mind, Dad. He's like, remember that.
He's
So.
right.
Board Member Chance, any questions?
Mr. Evans. You said that you volunteered to go in tier 4, but you had a drug score of 4.
So on my OAP, it just said addiction services. So
Right, so addiction services could be tier 2 or tier 4.
I figured I wrote to tier 2 and I was trying to get into that too. And I wasn't hearing anything back. So I went to Counselor Rags and you know, I happened to see him and I told him, I'm like, listen, I don't want to be around. I'm sure you guys have heard there's stuff in this jail. It's crazy. It's like everywhere. And I was like, I just want to be away from all that stuff because I don't want to be around it. So first they moved me to the aftercare program, even though I didn't do tier 4 yet or whatever. But they put me in there to wait, and I waited there for about, I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks, and then he got me upstairs into tier 4. But yeah, I didn't know I had to do it. Like I really was volunteering because I wanted to do it. I didn't know I had to do it. Do you understand? I really wanted to do it.
So I'm going to tell you where my concerns are.
Okay.
So one, it's your criminal behavior and your criminal thinking. So you said that you worked as a personal trainer for 7.5 years.
Yes,
but they terminated you because you were training your personal clients there at the facility.
you are trash.
And that wasn't appropriate, right?
Well, no, well, are you talking about Planet Fitness? Because I worked for studios, and my boss, Tony Sell, he and I had an agreement. I paid him 25%, and I was able to train my clients there. The problem was he wanted me, after about 2 years of that, he wanted me to put them all back on, and these are clients that I got on my own. Like it wasn't like people coming through his
So
door.
why did they terminate you? What was the reason?
Yes, well, he terminated me because I wouldn't transfer the clients there, because I was making like $50 an hour and then giving him 25%. He wanted me to transfer them all to FitPro and make $20 an hour, which was fine if they were FitPro clients, but like we had an agreement. So yes, he terminated me. Yeah.
So, the other pieces, you know, at one time you were on special parole. It was for 10 years. And then you did pretty well. And so you received early termination from your special parole. That was 5 years ago. But
Yes,
here you are today.
yes. And that's because,
Had you not been given that early termination, you would still be on special parole because it was not scheduled to expire until October of this year. You know, so you were given an opportunity to be out there and stay clean and sober, and you didn't. And then you told the parole officer that you accepted your sentence for the drug offenses, but not the domestic violence. Why not?
you are trash. No, I didn't say I don't accept. I know what I said was this. I said when I went to court, I couldn't accept. I did the Alfred plea. So what I was saying was that I do accept it now. That's the difference. Like I didn't accept it then, and so I took an Alfred plea. No, I do accept responsibility for that. That's
So
the
today
difference.
you are.
For since I've been in prison, I have. Yeah. I didn't admit it in court, and I didn't want to admit it to myself. But yes, I do. I absolutely take responsibility for that. I did that, and I feel terrible.
Okay, so I'm just gonna follow up on something that my colleague Mrs. Sasso said before, and that is this is another concern. Your mental health score is a 1.
Yes.
And obviously, from when you talked about toxic relationships, death of family members, friends, and abandonment, those are all
Yes.
mental health issues. So it was concerning that your score was a 1 when you're identifying that as a need. And when you have
Yes.
substance abuse and a mental health, they go hand in hand, and they need to be addressed at the same time in order for any of the treatment to be effective.
Right.
So-
I agree.
Yeah, so you might want to think about that.
Yeah. I like I said, I've already talked to my therapist, and I definitely am going back to therapy. It helped me a lot when I was out there. To have somebody to talk to that I don't have a connection with like that, like a family member or a close friend, somebody that's almost like a stranger. It helps me to get everything off my chest. And yes, I definitely identify with the issues I have, the abandonment issue, the toxic relationships, all that. Definitely, I agree, it needs to be addressed.
But they have to be done at the same time. You can't address one and then go back to the other one. in today's world, you really need to do both of them at the same time. But
Yeah,
I'm sure,
absolutely.
someone will say that to you. I'm just telling you that that's something that you need to be thinking about, and that it should be a priority for you.
It is, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. I'm all set, Mr. Pierce.
Thank you, Board Member Chance. So, where I'm at with this is that, Mr. Evans rates high. And in order to, and some of the things that's driving that, is, substance use and mental health, criminal attitude and behavior, and just his history. He can't change. He is in tier 4. He is participating. He is, by his report, 4.5 months in with a month and a half to go. He outlined a release/recovery plan. He wants to go back out. He said that he was successful on special parole. During his special parole, I only saw one violation, which wound up as a verbal for the use of alcohol back some over 10 years ago. Other than that, there wasn't any other misconducts in there. So he has taken the domestic violence program. He has expressed, what caused the assault thirds and his regret for them, and how he violated protective order. Understands that. He engaged in the domestic violence program and, as I said, the tier 4 program. He's got an opportunity to live with his cousin, which is in a different place than he was before, as an opportunity for employment in the community. Has people in his life who are not using, and would be good support for him. So I would support Mr. Evans' parole, contingent upon his completion of tier 4. I think the last month and a half is important, as it deals with his transition back into the community and other types of sober living topics. And it would afford him the opportunity to take the community-based treatment for domestic violence, as he has a flat sentence currently. And that's where I am. Board members, Assassin.
Yep, I can agree to that. And I think that he has acknowledged through the work that he's doing with his current therapist that the mental health piece is integral to his success moving forward. And I think that he's committed to doing that on his own. So I think that all of these factors combined, especially the completion of tier 4, is important.
Board member Chance.
I'm going to stick with my design.
Okay, so
That's not, for me, if journeys incarceration is mental health have been addressed and talked about, and they changed the score, I could say, yes, he is looking into it. I'm just hearing him talk about it today, so.
So then your reason would be,
My reason would be that I don't. I think he's in the two program, but I think I would go with the medical institution program participation. For me,
all right. I have him with, no alcohol consumption. There's a 1 there, but we've identified that he wants to connect with mental health support, and the domestic violence program. Is that where?
I don't think we can put it on if it's a 1. I'm not sure.
I don't think so either, which is why I said it's my hope that he's acknowledged the work with a therapist and is going to continue that, because I don't think we can put it on either. And
Right.
no driving without his license is suspended.
Yeah.
And then the no contact with victim AG.
Okay. So in regard to Jason Evans, 367370, going to grant parole on or after April 7th, 2025, contingent upon completion of tier 4, with the following stipulations that apply to his parole: no alcohol consumption, no operation of motor vehicle without parole officer's permission, community-based treatment for domestic violence, no contact with victim AG. Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. And on a vote of 2 to 1, Mr. Evans, you've been voted to parole.
Thank you so much.
You heard our concerns. And certainly, although our hands are tied on a mental health evaluation and treatment, that doesn't mean that you can't go to your parole officer and request one,
Okay,
which would get you connected to mental health support services.
Okay.
And that whole piece, as well as a recovery coach would be really good.
okay, thank you so much. And like I said, I do OBC. I did contact my therapist, so I'm hoping that's a good start right there. I'm gonna go down, so. But I will absolutely do that, because I'll be the first one to admit that, the first thing I said to you guys was that I have an abandonment issue. So I've known this for a while,
Yeah.
So,
But if things don't work out with your route to therapy, don't be afraid to talk to
That's
parole
cool.
officer.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
and they
Thank you.
granted. And look,
This
I mean,
concludes
if
the
this
hearing
was
for
my
Jason
first trip
Evans,
at the
case
rodeo,
number
I'd say, okay,
367-370. You're all set, sir.
Okay, thanks, guys. Have a good day.
whatever, what's the big deal? Grant, but I've seen too many of these hearings, too many of the hearings where there is DV, where there's violation of a protection order, where these people are dangerous. And there's one thing that they so often can do, and that is to turn on the kind of charms. I wouldn't call them charming, but it's you might not believe what you might just say, okay, yeah, it's a relationship, it was toxic, but I don't buy it. Now, I don't have like stacks of information to prove it, other than remember that the underlining offense why he's locked up is for a violation of a protection order. Judges don't just send people to prison when they once upon a time violated, but this is usually habitual. There's usually danger involved. There's, he says, oh, well, I spit. Oh, she spit. I grabbed her mouth. Please. And, the parole board, they did not dive in. They did not get down and dirty. It was Pole, Chance, and Zapasa. So, we needed Turner in there, I think, because she can get feisty with this stuff. And, or maybe even, Zaccanini? She can also get pretty. So, and they didn't have it. We didn't have that with this board. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I think he's danger. He's not taking accountability. And you know what I would say with the AA thing that I cannot stand? I would love them to say, well, what's step number 2? What's step number 8? You know, and it would tell us a lot. If he knows, it would probably tell us something. It would tell us even more if he didn't know. And I don't know, you know, I can't. This parole board member, Mike Pohl, he's like, oh, because you're a personal trainer, then you understand this. And it's like, I get that you can't, not everybody you can tell who's in good shape, but for someone who's been in prison and a personal trainer, you're like in the least impressive shape that we have seen, you know, for real. Like the only thing you could do is work out, and you kind of look a bit, sorry, you're not someone I would pay to personal train me. I'll tell you that. It's just strange. The whole thing is, what he got was a maximum sentence of 30 months. His maximum release date was 7/8/2026. But he was sentenced 4/25/2024. And what's this Lady Holly having here? 7/31/21, March 76th, violation of a protection order, failure to appear. He's gotten probation so many times, I think, and revoked. Violation of protection order again. Possession of controlled substance, failure to appear. So there's some redundancy as far as assault third degree. You know, I just saw still denial. And remember, he took the Alfred plea. He told the that he didn't. I don't know. I thought we only had Miss Chance. She was the only one wise enough to turn him down. And there was a missed opportunity here to really give it to him. But that's just my opinion. What's yours? Again, like I said, if I hadn't seen enough of these parole hearings with these type of cases, I just know better now. Judges do not send you away for 30 months of the underlying offensive violation of protection order unless it's not smoke. There's fire. There's a lot of fire. Anyways, with that, I'll let you go.
Yeah, the last time I ever saw her actually was we got into an argument, and she said something about my son, and I spit in her face. You are trash, and she spit back at me, and then I put my hand over her mouth so she wouldn't spit on me again, and I left, and I was going down the elevator, and I didn't see a text message that she texted me. She said, "Hey, if you come back up here, I'm gonna call the cops."